Hey, my name's Anthony Ficken. I'm not Diamond High School principal. Welcome to the Diamond Dialogue Podcast, Episode 3. Got Coach Kelley, Peyton Marbo here to talk about baseball. Going into the spring season, a lot of exciting things happening. Coach Kelley, why don't you introduce yourself, maybe your background to coaching, all the different sports you've coached, your coaching team, then we'll pass the buck to Peyton.
Yeah, so growing up, I always wanted to be a coach. My dad was a football coach my whole life. He coached a little bit of everything, but mainly football. I coached varsity football at Carl Junction. I've been at Diamond now for 4 years, coaching middle school football, and then 4 years ago I stepped into middle school baseball. Last year I came on as an assistant at the high school level. Obviously this year is my first year stepping into the varsity baseball at the high school level.
Awesome. And then Peyton, I know football's been your thing, but I'm sure baseball's a big part of that too, so...
Yep. So I've started playing baseball whenever I was 6, and my dad's helped me keep the love for the game. And recently, like in our high school program, I know this summer we did a lot of stuff as a team, and that brought us together. And we already started changing a little bit the way that we want to be going. We're going in the right direction, I feel like, as a team and like as a community. We're going to come together through the baseball team, and it's going to show throughout the season, and hopefully we have a successful season.
Awesome. So I know in just some conversation with Coach Kelley and I, the theme, it seems like, is culture's changing. Mm-hmm. Is that pretty accurate?
For
sure. So Coach Kelley, why don't you speak on that? Like, what does that mean to you, your program, your vision for the program? And then we'll talk about maybe how the kids are responding to that.
Yeah, I'm a big culture guy. I want to have a positive culture. I want to teach kids tenacity, courageousness, how to overcome obstacles. I want to prepare them for life. And so I want to start some tradition, here at Diamond within our baseball program. So kind of 2 phrases I've been saying all year is the culture's changing and accountability's coming. And so, you see that in our baseball program in some practical ways. If you step into our locker room, it's clean and organized. There's a certain arrangement to how our lockers are arranged. Whenever we're doing our warm-up and our throwing routine, there's no talking at all. Everything's timed. The coach is leading them through the different throwing motions and things like that. We've obviously spoken on body language and verbal language and the things that we want to do, at practice and in the games. So it's changing in a lot of practical ways.
Awesome. And I before we jumped on this podcast, I saw that you just posted kind of a video highlighting some of the things you're going to be talking today. And, we can talk about that in just a second, but maybe we could take some of those videos and maybe either post them in the comments so that people can kind of see some examples of, how culture is changing. So why don't you just briefly talk about some of those videos and what they can expect to see in those?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I want to post some videos on social media so that our community and our followers can see, what things are looking different this year, kind of behind the scenes, or the things you may not notice, but they're a big deal. So I recorded one this morning. I just walked into our locker room. I wanted to see what it was going to look like. And I'm like, well, I'll turn my phone on, record, and see. And it was pretty good, pretty clean and organized. So that's one way. I'll record some videos this afternoon or going into next week of our throwing routine and, how we're doing that the right way and how we're leading kids through that. Our pre-pitch things, we're big sticklers on doing the fundamentals the right way. So whenever we get into a drill where I can highlight that, I'm hoping to record some videos and post that online for people to see and highlight our kids doing things the right way.
Yeah, I know some coaches are so particular that they even say, hey, this is where I want your things lined in the locker room, so there's no gray area for what clear expectations are. And, just conversations that we've had yesterday, it sounds like you're doing a lot of that in your program. So, Peyton, why don't you speak as a player? What impact does that have for you, and how does that change your approach?
I feel like as a team this year already, we have a rule whenever we're playing catch, there's no talking at all. That's the number one expectation. Beginning of the week, we kind of struggled with that a little bit, and I feel like now as a team we're starting to connect better about it, and it's actually growing us closer the less talking we do. It's kind of weird. So, but the energy on the field is amazing this year. Like, you want to be there, and it seems like in past years sometimes you oh, it's baseball practice. But you want to go to practice and you're having fun out there, but you're doing the things the right way. And that's really important, I feel like, as a team, is if we do the little things, then those big things will start to come and we'll start to take strides as a team together.
Sure. So it sounds like what you're saying is some of the things that, Coach Kelley and the coaches are putting in place are almost creating like a bond amongst players, having those common expectations, which is great. So a follow-up question that I would have just out of curiosity is, expectations are great, but what happens when players step outside of those expectations? So as a coach, how do you respond to that, and what does accountability look like for your program?
Yeah, obviously conditioning is one thing that players don't enjoy. So they've conditioned. They've had some sprints.
Peyton, have you had to
this
do any
week.
yet?
Yep, I had to run a pole yesterday.
Nice.
Yeah, we
Good for you, right?
we've done some bear crawls as a team and some sprints. I'm not sure that any of our players have done bear crawls on the baseball field before, but with a football background, that's one of my go-tos. We just yesterday before practice, we talked through our handbook, our practical expectations of, hey, if you fail to meet our expectations, you're letting yourself down, you're letting your team down. And if you do this or don't do this, then here's the consequence. If you do this, don't do this, and here's the consequence. And it's something that we learn from and we move on from. We interrupt practice for a short amount of time. We have our consequences, and then we move on from it. And it's the same way we approach the plate in a game. It's next pitch. It's not something that we dwell on.
Yeah, no, that's great. And as I ponder through a lot of the things you're saying, I know it's important to create a program that not only touches the high school but goes down to the middle school and hopefully even the youth league. So maybe talk for a second what that process looks like for how you partner with middle school or hopefully even youth league at some point.
Right. So I remember back 4 years ago when I was a part of the middle school program, it was kind of frustrating because we only had one baseball field here in Diamond, and obviously the varsity gets precedence, and so it was hard to do the things that we need to do in practice. So I've tried to create with our coaches super detailed practice plans so that we can be working with the middle schoolers, and they can be seeing the high schoolers setting example, and that way all 6 of our coaches see every kid every day, every high schooler, every junior higher. They're learning the same language, they're learning the same technique that we're teaching all across the board. And so it's challenging because our numbers are up this year. In our high school program, I think we're up to 26 kids.
Awesome. What did you have last year?
I think around 14, 15.
Oh, wow. So that's significantly higher.
Yeah, significantly higher. Our junior high numbers are still low, but similar to what they were last year. And so, trying to figure out where we can fit bodies and have eyes on them and provide instruction. But we're figuring out how to do it.
Yeah. So I would imagine having more players means a little bit more competition for spots as kids obviously want to start. So Peyton, why don't you speak a little bit to some of these new players that are coming on and what energy they might be bringing to the team and how you're helping as an upperclassman to shape their perspectives of the program.
We have a lot of really talented freshmen coming into our program this season, and they're coming into the culture and they're learning kind of the same way that we're learning right now because we're changing the team completely, the way we act, the way we do things in school, in the classroom even. We got to meet those expectations, and if those freshmen learn it now, then I feel like we're going to grow as a program through the whole community, not just our high school team. But I feel like main thing for me is I feel like I have to show them what the expectations are, and then I can tell them, then I can hold them accountable better. If I'm doing things right, then I can hold them more accountable. Hey, we don't do that. You need to meet the expectations that coaches have provided for us, and it'll grow throughout the community completely, I feel like.
Sure. So it sounds like strong leadership. How are students, or I guess players, responding to that whenever, as an upperclassman, you provide that?
Surprisingly, really good.
Good.
Like they're listening. They believe in our team. I feel like there's more belief that we're going to do great things this season. And I hear people in the hallways. They're like, "Man, we're going to have a good season. Like things are going good in practice. Like we're growing. The team's getting closer. Awesome. We got better bonds, and they're doing the things the right way."
That's good. All that's great to hear. It sounds like there's a lot of positive energy kind of going into the team, and it sounds like you're building some momentum. So is there anything in closing, Mr. Kelley, Coach Kelley, that you want to share either about your program, your kids, something you're proud of, something you're looking forward to, anything to kind of, help close us out for today?
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to the opportunity to compete. I'm a competitor. I think we have a lot of kids in our program that are competitors, and one thing that's new this year is they're learning at the start of the year that they're having to compete with each other because we probably have 13, 14, 15 guys that could adequately fill our 9 spots on the baseball field. And so, I saw a quote earlier this week that said, "My job as a coach is to find someone better than you, and your job as a player is to ensure that I can't." There was a conversation that
Great
took
quote.
place. It's a great quote. There was a conversation that took place with one of our upperclassmen and one of our assistant coaches this week after practice the second day, and he goes, "How are you feeling about things?" And the player said, "I don't want to lose my starting spot." But it wasn't like a bummed. It was like an anticipation of like,
Yeah.
I'm going to do the things that I need to do to ensure that I'm on the baseball field.
Hungry dog runs fast.
That's right.
That's right.
We're excited.
Okay, well, hey, I really appreciate both of you coming on and kind of highlighting the vision for your program, the way it's headed, and I think community members, parents, and even players who get to watch this are going to get a great reflection of what your expectations are and the things that you're hoping to do this year. So I appreciate it. Thanks, Coach Kelley, Peyton Marbo, Anthony Fickendine, High School principal. Have a great day.
Thank you.